What if Nezuko Kamado, a central character in Demon Slayer, never turned into a demon? How would the story progress? Perhaps she would have died with her family, and this would lead Tanjiro to become a vengeful character. Today, we'll explore 4 intriguing scenarios, and see how the story would have progressed. Get ready to dive into these exciting alternate storylines. In our first theory, Nezuko, still human, decides to join the Demon Slayer Corps with Tanjiro, after their family is killed. If Nezuko had remained human after Muzan's attack, her life would have been drastically different, but equally driven by loss and determination. After the horrific slaughter of her family, Nezuko would be filled with a mix of grief and fierce desire for justice, much like Tanjiro. Instead of traveling with Tanjiro as a demon, she would join him as a human in the fight against demons. Initially, Nezuko would continue living with Tanjiro, both of them taking on household responsibilities. They'd support each other through their shared trauma, creating a strong bond. Nezuko might help Tanjiro with his charcoal business, but their primary focus would quickly shift to becoming demon slayers, to prevent others from suffering the same fate. Nezuko, given her potential and the combat skills hinted at in the series, would likely become a demon slayer alongside Tanjiro. The anime and manga show Nezuko's natural fighting instincts even as a demon, suggesting she had latent combat abilities as a human. After the attack, Tanjiro would likely encourage Nezuko to join him in training under Sakonji Urokodaki. Together, they would undergo the same rigorous training to master water-breathing techniques. Picture Nezuko standing beside Tanjiro, both of them determined to become stronger. Training scenes would show her resilience and growth, just like when Tanjiro trained to split the boulder. In our next theory, Nezuko dies with her family, leaving only Tanjiro. But what would have happened to Tanjiro? Tanjiro returns home to find his entire family, including Nezuko, dead. This loss deeply affects him, fueling his desire for revenge. It's a much darker start for our protagonist. Tanjiro is known for his empathetic and understanding nature towards both humans and demons, often comforting the latter as they die. This empathy largely stems from his sister Nezuko's transformation into a demon, which gives him insight into the experiences of both humans and demons. Without Nezuko's transformation, Tanjiro would likely view demons as purely malevolent, based on his experiences with other cruel demons, like Kyogai, the drum demon. With Nezuko dead, there's no demonic transformation, and Tanjiro's journey takes a different path. No adorable demon sister in a box this time! Driven by grief and anger, Tanjiro would vow to become a demon slayer to avenge his family. His motivation is no longer just to save his sister, but to obliterate the demon menace entirely. His training under Sakonji Urokodaki becomes more intense and focused, with a singular purpose: to destroy Muzan Kibutsuji, and prevent other families from suffering the same fate. Urokodaki might be both impressed and concerned by Tanjiro's fierce determination. Without Nezuko's protective demon form, Tanjiro faces greater peril during his early encounters with demons. He must rely entirely on his human abilities and the skill he acquires during his training. Remember how Nezuko saved Tanjiro in several sticky situations? Yeah, none of that here. It's all on Tanjiro now. The loss of Nezuko and his family makes Tanjiro more hardened and driven. He becomes a more ruthless and determined demon slayer. Imagine a more intense version of Tanjiro, less smiles and more steel in his eyes. The Corps recognizes Tanjiro's potential and his burning desire for vengeance. They provide him with more intensive training and support, understanding the depth of his motivation. The Hashiras might take a special interest in him, seeing both his potential and the pain driving him. Also, the battle against Rui, one of the 12 Kiseki, becomes a defining moment. Without Nezuko's intervention, Tanjiro must push his water-breathing techniques to their limits, showcasing his remarkable growth. This could be a turning point, where Tanjiro truly steps into his own power. Despite these changes, Tanjiro's human relationships would likely remain similar. He would still form bonds with characters like Zenitsu Akatsuma and Inosuke Hashibira, though his patience for their faults might diminish. His overall demeanor would be more temperamental, shaped by the trauma of losing his entire family to demons. His interactions with other humans, such as insect Hashira Shinobu, who shares a similar background of loss, would resonate with shared feelings of anger rather than empathy. Next up, Muzan's intention was to create a demon that could withstand sunlight. If Nezuko had not been turned, Muzan might have targeted another family or individual to achieve his goal. Muzan's initial attack on the Kamado family was driven by his goal to create a demon that could conquer sunlight. Since Nezuko, with her unique resistance to sunlight, is not part of the picture, Muzan would still be on the hunt. Remember how he manipulated people like Susumaru or Yahaba? He would likely target another family with similar characteristics to the Kamados, searching for that perfect candidate. Muzan might go after a family living in a remote area, possibly one that has a history of strong-willed individuals or unique traits, just like the Kamados. Without Nezuko's unique resistance to sunlight, Muzan's plans would have to shift dramatically. Instead of relying on trial and error with random attacks, he might adopt a more systematic approach. Muzan could start by researching bloodlines and family histories, looking for genetic markers or traits that might increase the likelihood of success. Imagine him sending out his demon subordinates to gather information and test potential candidates discreetly. Muzan is nothing if not methodical when it comes to achieving his goals. For instance, Muzan might have his eyes on the Ubuyashiki family, due to their long-standing connection to the Demon Slayer Corps. The twist here is that instead of exterminating them outright, he could try to turn one of them into a demon, thinking that their lineage holds the key to his goal. This would add a whole new layer of tension and intrigue, especially considering the Ubuyashiki family's vow to eradicate demons. With Muzan focusing his efforts on finding the perfect sunlight-resistant demon, there could be a spike in demon attacks across various regions. This would force the Demon Slayer Corps to spread thinner, struggling to defend against the sudden surge. Remember how Tanjiro and his fans had to constantly move from one mission to another? Now the pressure would be even more intense, with every town and village potentially being the next target for Muzan's experiments. These targeted attacks would introduce new story arcs, each centered around different families or individuals being hunted by Muzan's demons. Imagine a scenario where Tanjiro and his friends are dispatched to protect a family that Muzan is targeting. They would have to uncover why Muzan is interested in this particular family, adding an element of mystery and urgency to their mission. Following this theory, is Nezuko's survival and transformation into a demon were influenced by supernatural forces, linked to her family's practice of the Hinokami Kagura, Dance of the Fire God. If she had not become a demon, this divine protection might still play a role, perhaps in other subtle ways, such as providing Tanjiro with enhanced abilities or guidance from ancestral spirits. In the anime and manga, the Kamado family's practice of the Hinokami Kagura hints at a deep mystical connection. This dance, passed down through the generations, is more than just a ritual. It's a link to the family's heritage and hidden power. If Nezuko had remained human, this divine protection might manifest differently, but still profoundly influence their lives. Without Nezuko's transformation into a demon, the divine protection could directly enhance Tanjiro's abilities. We already see hints of this when Tanjiro learns the Hinokami Kagura technique, which significantly boosts his combat skills. Imagine this connection being even stronger, with ancestral spirits guiding him more directly. During crucial battles, Tanjiro might feel a surge of strength or sudden clarity, as if his ancestors are lending their power. For instance, during the intense battle against Rui, the spider demon, Tanjiro might receive a vision or a burst of energy from his ancestors, helping him unleash a more powerful version of the Hinokami Kagura. This divine intervention could turn the tide of battle, providing Tanjiro with the edge he needs to defeat formidable foes. The divine protection could also provide guidance through dreams or visions. Tanjiro often dreams of his father performing the Hinokami Kagura. In this scenario, these dreams could be more frequent and detailed, offering advice or warnings. Imagine Tanjiro receiving a vision before a major battle, where his ancestors show him a specific technique or strategy to use against the enemy. During the fight with Enmu on the Mugen train, Tanjiro's connection to his ancestors could give him insights into breaking Enmu's spell, making him more effective in combat. This ancestral guidance would not only enhance Tanjiro's fighting skills, but also deepen his understanding of his family's legacy and the true power of the Hinokami Kagura. And then, our last theory is, Nezuko's absence as a demon would significantly affect key battles. For example, the battle against Rui. Nezuko's demon powers were crucial during the battle with Rui, the lower rank 5 demon of the 12 Kizuki. When Tanjiro was on the brink of defeat, Nezuko's blood demon art, Exploding Blood, played a pivotal role. Her blood ignited Rui's threads, giving Tanjiro the opening he needed to decapitate Rui with his Hinokami Kagura technique. Without Nezuko, Tanjiro would have faced an even grimmer situation. He might have had to rely entirely on his water-breathing techniques, which were barely enough against Rui's deadly threads. The fight would be more intense, pushing Tanjiro to his limits. The intervention of the water Hashira Giyu Tomioka would be even more critical, and the battle might result in severe injuries for Tanjiro, or worse, forcing an earlier and more dramatic intervention by Giyu. Also in the battle against Enmu on the Mugen train, Nezuko's ability to protect the passengers and assist Tanjiro was indispensable. She helped wake up Tanjiro and the others from Enmu's sleep spells, and fought off attacking demons. If Nezuko had been human, her role in this battle would have been drastically different. Tanjiro would have had to manage both protecting the passengers and fighting Enmu, spreading him thin. Zenitsu and Inosuke's roles would become even more crucial, and the coordination between them would need to be flawless. The lack of Nezuko's regenerative abilities would make the battle longer and riskier, increasing the chances of casualties among the passengers. And the battle against Daki and Gyutaro. Nezuko's fight against Daki showcased her immense demon strength and regenerative abilities. Her intervention turned the tide when Tanjiro was struggling. She could hold her own against Daki's attack, and even overpower her at times. The battle would likely be longer and more grueling, with a higher risk of severe injuries or fatalities among the demon slayers. The intervention of the sound Hashira, Tengen Uzui, would become even more critical, and the stakes would be much higher. And there you have it, folks. We looked at 5 cool theories about how Demon Slayer might be different if Nezuko didn't turn into a demon. From Tanjiro's journey to Muzan's evil plans, each idea shows us a new way the story could go. So what do you think? How would things change if Nezuko stayed human? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Are you curious about the strongest characters in Demon Slayer? Well, that's the subject of this other video. In the meantime, click on this link to see another cool anime video here. Go ahead, click it.